What's going on, everybody? Brad here with a quick video intro for today's segment. I had the chance to record a visitor center over on the podcast, episode 293, with Neemz, the movie poster guy. You may know him from Instagram or social media, anywhere else. And he also runs the account Jurassic Your World, two very influential accounts in the Jurassic community, so please go check out those accounts. And if you check out our show notes, all of Neem's links are in there as well. Go to JurassicParkPodcast.com to find all of that information. But we had a wonderful conversation about the movie posters that Neemz has created and, how it all ties in officially with the Jurassic World franchise. We also talked about his history with, growing up as a Jurassic fan and so much more. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation. And again, you can listen to episode 293 on any of your podcast platforms out there. And thank you so much. I really hope you enjoy this conversation. We are here inside the visitor center, and I know the calendar literally just turned over to October, but here, I think on the podcast overall, and just my life in general, it's spooky here 24/7, and definitely in the visitor center. And to chat with me, amongst all this rubble and decay, we have the movie poster guy himself here. Neemz, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How is everybody listening? I'm good.
I hope they're good. I can't hear. Do you hear them? I don't hear anybody.
I'm sending
nobody's
I'm
coming.
sending good vibes.
Yeah, there is definitely some good vibes. I'm doing well. I'm excited to chat. I feel like this has been a long time coming. You've been a part of the community for a while, and we've kind of like just never like crossed paths in terms of like, hey, let's record, let's do this.
Yeah.
And we're always like so far. We like book things like we are literally into, I think, February right now. So we got lucky here that a mailbag had to be moved.
I'm excited to be here.
It's good. So I want to start you off with what I think is probably the most difficult question out there that any Jurassic fan could be asked at any point in time. So I want to know, if you were stuck in a kitchen with a velociraptor, what would you do, and would you make it out alive?
I'd be dead within 30 seconds or less.
Oh no.
Or I'd be really, really smart and do something like, use the like pan or something like that to make a noise or like divert its attention, something. But honestly, I feel like if I was in a Jurassic film in general, I would be that person that dies within the first like 2 minutes. So there's that.
Yeah. You're the guy raising the gate. Just, you don't know what's happening. You're just like, there's got to be something. Maybe it's something nice inside this gate. I don't know.
I would just be there like with my cell phone. Ooh, you look cool. Like trying to take a. I'd be gone.
I think that is the problem with a lot of us. I mean, you always see that the question is always spinning around Twitter or social media of like, hey, if Jurassic Park was real, Jurassic World was real, would you ever go to it? And I feel like us fans are always like, yeah, of course I would be there. I mean, is it ethical? Is it like, is there something morally wrong with this whole thing? Maybe, but like, I would definitely be there day one. I want to see some dinosaurs. And I would probably, like you're saying, want to get up there close with the camera and like, basically get some selfies with it and, maybe a bite off my shoulder. I don't know. It might happen.
And the crazy thing is I love dinosaurs so much. I cannot reptiles and snakes and, like turkeys and that kind of stuff. I am deathly afraid of turkeys. So like, how do I like these T-Rexes and these compies and all these different like species, but then I can't stand the sight of a snake. Like I can do spiders.
Yeah.
I'm good with spiders. I can do all that kind of stuff.
No, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's end this feed right now. I can't do spiders, man. We can't talk about that.
But that's the thing. Like if dinosaurs were real, I'd be actually terrified. So when I watch the films, I think about it that way. Like if a T-Rex was real, that's like a huge freaking, a tyrant lizard is what it is. So it's like, it's scary.
Yeah, that is a fair point. As much as we like to talk, that we would be there day one, we would be right up close with all these dinosaurs. Like there is something different about having that face-to-face experience. I joke about that. I'm blanking on the name of the bird. It's like a shoe bill or something like that. You ever seen that bird? That thing is like terrifying.
With the beak that looks like this, and it's like, and
it's
that's
super.
like Oh
It's like
man, no.
angry. It's angry as anything, and it makes this clicking noise that like apparently sounds like a machine gun or
Yeah.
something like that.
Isn't that the
And
mating
like
call? Isn't that the mating
I
call, that clicking
I don't
noise?
know,
Oh god,
maybe,
it's
but
scary. It's terrifying.
either way, yeah, it's terrifying, and like I don't want to see that thing up close. And like certainly
No.
like an alligator is like terrifying. Like I don't want to like
Yeah.
I don't want to be near that. But like a dinosaur, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But like, I definitely,
Brachiosaurus I can do. Brachiosaurus I can do because they're so majestic. Because when you go see an elephant, that's a
Mhm.
different feeling for me. I'm like, this thing is so beautiful. It moves so graciously and slow, and I feel like that's how like an apatosaurus or a brachiosaurus would move. And then you
Yeah.
come down to like the raptors and the other scary things. It's like I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, I might have I think I've probably told this story before on like the show or live stream or something, but I was on safari in South Africa, and
Mm,
at one point, we're in our big trucks, and then we're able to get out and like walk around, and we spot a hippo down in the water.
yeah,
It's like, a few hundred feet away. It's a good distance, and we're just sitting there taking some pictures. I've got my video camera out. I'm like shooting some
mm,
video of it, and it's just out there in the water, down a hill,
yeah.
and then it starts to open its mouth very
Oh,
wide and just make this noise. And we're all kind of like, well, that's cool. Look at that thing just opening its mouth like that. And then I don't and I've watched back on the videos several times, and I'm pretty sure I do hear our guides that are with us. One of them definitely says run, okay?
oh
And and but by the time we get back and after this whole situation, they were joking about it and be like, "No, we didn't say anything." Okay, sure. But somebody said run, right? So
yeah,
everybody runs back to the truck, right? The truck. And the hippo is literally sprinting up a hill towards us. And that was like one of those like terrifying moments where like this is a big animal, and it's horrifying to like have something like that happen. And you hear about these things that they're super vicious, and they
yeah.
may like look kind of cute and everything, but like they're
Hip
vicious, they're
hippos are the scary
fast.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's like that was a terrifying experience, but we all made it out okay. But
I'm
you
glad
know,
you're
we're here. It's fine. So I wanna go back in time a little bit. I wanna
here.
take us back to the beginning. What was your first introduction? How did you get how did you get involved in Jurassic Park? To begin with, was that your first film? Was it a different film? What
Actually,
started your fandom?
the first movie that I saw in theaters was The Lion King. But my story with Jurassic is I didn't see Jurassic in theaters because I was 3 years old
Okay.
when it came out. But I did see it when I was three and a half, I believe, when it came out on VHS. And I
Yeah,
remember going to it was a Kmart that was in our neighborhood, which is no longer there. It's apartments now. And
sure.
um, I remember walking up to the stand, and I recognized a logo for some reason. And I remember picking up the VHS, which I still have, which I think is on that shelf behind me. Turning it around, and I remember seeing Alan Grant's, him in his hat and in the rain and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, Mom, uh, can I watch this movie? Because I think I had seen The Land Before Time
Uh-huh.
before Jurassic Park. So I was already into dinosaurs somehow. I think it was because of Land Before Time. I was
Mhm.
very little, and I remember it clear as day. Walking up to the standee, picking up the VHS, saying, "Mom, can I have this?" I think she just thought, "Oh, it's another dinosaur movie. It's like the sequel to
Yeah.
Land Before Time." Close, not really.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
And then I remember my mom was going to a dinner party that night, and my dad and I were at home, and we popped it into the VHS player, sat on the couch, and watched the movie. And my dad was like, "Are you sure this isn't scary?" I remember him saying, like, "Are you okay?" Like he like wanted to see if I was okay, and I was loving
Yeah.
every second of it. Like I was totally fine. My eyes were glued to the screen. My dad was impressed too. I think I remember him just being like, this is different. This is a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there, it just turned into my dad went on a trip to Japan, and he
Mhm.
brought back some of the original Kenner figures, but from Japan.
Oh,
I
that's
think
cool.
he brought me a Triceratops. He got me juvenile Rex. He got me the two Raptors, the orange one and the brown one. So I was pretty much
Mhm.
set. I got those 4 or 5 figures, and that's what all this behind me, my collection, that's where it started. And then
I
from
yeah,
there,
I
it just
I think
grew.
we got some insight into that. Like I believe I remember hearing you talk about that on the
Mhm.
live stream that we did because you were a part of that as well. So
Yeah,
those stories are like super heartwarming when you it's like a whole family involved and that's the
yeah,
reason that you're into the thing, you know?
yeah. And then it turned into the Lost World. And what's funny about the Lost World is I was actually scared of the Lost World.
Mm.
That one I saw in the theater, and I think as when I was 7 years old, I realized like
Uh-huh.
these people are in danger. This is bad. Like holy crap, these people are gonna get eaten. And that was actually
Yeah.
the Velociraptor the scene that scared me. Not the T. I was excited to see the T Rexes. I was scared of the Raptors. So don't go into
Yeah.
the long grass. Scared me. But now
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
no, you're fine now. You're not hiding anymore. You're not under the blanket, you know? So,
Yeah.
but that does kind of translate, I feel like, with kids, those
Mhm.
ages that you probably were. You know, I show my son some stuff, and actually, you know, even prior to the pandemic and all that stuff, and even during it, we would just show him so many movies and things, and
Yeah.
things that like at some point in time he remembered everything and then he just forgot everything that he watched. So we've been kind of going through this process of like showing him things again and he's like,
Yeah.
I never saw this is cool. And things that he wasn't afraid of when he was like 3.5, he
Yeah.
now is afraid of. And I'm like, hey man, like you weren't afraid of that before, what happened? He's like,
I think
I
he's
don't
growing
like
into his
it.
conscience. Like, he's growing into
Yeah.
that that means he's smart. That means he knows what danger is and all that kind of stuff, which is a good thing,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I know, but it's sad when you know his first 3.5 to 4 years were like he was obsessed with Ghostbusters, right?
Oh,
And
that's
then
cool.
literally the other day he says to us, "I don't like Ghostbusters. I want all of my stuff out of my room," because he has like a bunch of like collectibles and
Aw,
things like that. And
yeah,
we're like, no man, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. I'm like, don't you like Slimer? He's like, yes, I do like Slimer. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
see, it's all good.
Okay, he's got
But
this,
yeah,
he's got this.
yeah. So it's funny how we all experience this in certain ways and have such memorable, I think, impacts from
Oh,
from
yeah.
such young ages. You know,
Mm.
it's really crazy when
What's
when you
what's
were
crazy about, our generation is I think the reason why Jurassic stuck with us
mhm.
a little bit better is because we didn't have access to Netflix and, all these different streaming platforms, so we would
Yeah,
rewind those VHSs and watch those tapes over and over again. It's a little bit different now where kids can just pop onto an iPad or their parents can, like, swipe onto a different movie type thing. It was
yeah.
kinda limited back then where it was like we had 8 movies or whatever it is, and you just shuffle through them. And I just remember, I think
Yeah.
the VHS for Jurassic Park doesn't even work anymore because I watched it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, some films, these days now are not getting their fair shake because you're able to move right on to the next thing without getting
It's kinda
obsessed over
sad.
it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
what is fandom gonna look like in, 20 years when, people have podcasts about whatever's coming out today, like what is that gonna look like? It's
I
gonna be
don't know.
interesting. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be people obsessed with something, but it for
Maybe
us,
maybe
this is it.
yeah, maybe there will be Jurassic in 2020 or
Hope
2060 something. Oh my god, who
I
knows what's gonna
I
happen.
know. Yeah, we were joking about this the other day on one of the streams or
Yeah.
something about like 2040 and like, hey man, I'm gonna already have the podcast handed off to somebody else by that point. I'm not gonna be going that long. Come on. But when you're growing up and you sound like you were very young, but like around those times, like Lost World, JP3, even like, did you get a sense that there were like other fans out there that there were like people in your community or your school or whatever that were like actual fans?
No, no, I was alone. I was actually very alone in the past.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I'm going to a dark place.
I'm
I'm
so
just
sorry. I'm
kidding.
so
I just remember that my family knew that I was obsessed. So, like, every Christmas or every birthday, it was just like I was very, very, like I'm very grateful for my upbringing because my aunts and my uncles and my mom and dad would, gift me with obviously on the appropriate times. It's not like I just got toys for no reason, but like on my birthdays
Mhm.
and stuff, I would get so much Jurassic stuff, and it's like any kid's
Yeah.
dream. It's my dream because I was obsessed. I don't remember any of my friends or any of like my classmates that like Jurassic Park. Isn't that
Mhm.
nuts? And now that I'm thinking about it, like I grew up in Orange County and in California, so it's not like it was inaccessible to anybody.
Yeah.
It just didn't
Yeah.
seem like there was other Jurassic fans, and I think that's what made me dive into wanting to create, an Instagram page dedicated to Jurassic and like doing like my
Mhm.
fan posters and that kind of stuff. I think I never got to experience what that was like, and I know that during that time when Jurassic Park 3 ended up until when Jurassic World happened, I know there was like Jurassic Outposts and like different websites where Jurassic fans would go, and I was
Mhm.
kind of a part of it, but I never like contributed, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time to be a part of it. Like I'd never had that experience, and I think that's why I go so hard with it now because I'm like, it's time.
Yeah, you missed out for so long that
Yeah.
now you gotta go hard on. Yeah, I feel similar in terms of uh like the online usage and stuff. I was out there on a lot of these sites, but like lurking. I'm
I was
always a
lurking
lurker.
too.
I
Yeah.
feel I'm always a lurker, and it's so weird to be the person doing the streams and doing the things, and then to
Mhm.
know that like when I go watch someone else's stream, I'm definitely like too afraid to type words. I'm like,
Okay.
why am I so afraid to just be like, hey, this is great, like or whatever, and that
Oh,
was the
yeah.
same thing with like the forums and stuff like that back in the
Mhm.
day. Like I was always, JP Legacy and stuff like that. I was always
Mhm.
like just reading. I was just seeing what was happening and waiting for updates and stuff like that. And back when
Yeah.
I was a kid, there was one other friend in my school that dressed up as Alan Grant for Halloween,
Oh,
and that was it. Nobody else, nobody
what a
else.
dream.
So yeah, yeah, it
That's
was a
awesome.
fun time, but I've come to realize that a lot of fans felt isolated, I guess, in
Mhm.
their fandom. They didn't feel like people out there liked or appreciated the same things, and
Yeah. I think
to have
that's, like, one of the huge benefits of social media, because social media
mhm.
can be very good and it can be very bad, and I think the benefit is,
Yeah.
like, I'm friends with, Nathie out in the UK and Tom and,
Mhm.
there's people in Spain and,
Oh, yeah.
all over the country, like the United States. So it's like I feel not like we're like best friends, but like we're really close, and
Mhm.
it's cool to be able to get excited about a toy that's coming out, or like, oh my god, did you
Oh,
see
yeah.
the picture, or the podcast is out, or whatever it is. Like it's just very cool to experience it with other people, so I feel less crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely like made the world feel much smaller and closer and
Mhm.
more accessible, and I've had these conversations in the visitor center with so many different Jurassic fans around the world, and to literally have that same story, like that
Yeah.
they thought that they were the only one, nobody else out there like Jurassic, and then like you're saying now it's just you have everybody so accessible,
Mhm.
and we're all like best friends out here just like chatting every day, like literally we'll talk to, each other in the community more than we talk to like some, friends
Sometimes,
that
yeah.
maybe we have at home, or
Yeah.
something like that, family, whoever.
And
So
that's
it's really cool.
another part of it is I'm lucky that I'm in California,
Yeah. Oh my
and
God. Yeah.
there's so many things that I get to experience, and I'm that's why I take so many photos and videos and share them
Uh,
online as much as I can, because I'm like, well, shoot, like some of these people are not going to be able to see this, and I
mhm.
kind of get that FOMO with Velocicoaster and like some of the other things where I'm like, I've never been to Florida, and I really want to
Oh,
go and visit it, but
yeah.
I once I know that how that feels, I'm like, okay, you know what? If I'm gonna go see the original T-Rex head from the Lost World, I'm gonna take a million photos of it so that everybody else can see it too. Like I'm trying to share the love pretty much.
Yeah. And where was that, by the way? That was that an Academy museum or something?
No.
What was that
Okay.
you went to?
That,
Because
that
I saw a bunch of things on your feed that day, and I wasn't sure what was what.
people were loving that for some, and that's why I was like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep hearing these. Um, I saw that it's at a place in Hollywood and Highland called
Okay.
Icons of Darkness, and
Ooh,
they
that sounds cool.
this guy has curated the most intense collection of things that are real. of
Yeah.
all time. Like, he has the original Michael Jackson jacket from Thriller, and he has
Oh
Doc
my God.
Brown's
Wow.
jacket. He has, like, Doc Brown's jacket from Back to the Future and,
Wow.
original things from Alien and all that kind of like, all these real
Yeah.
all the Batman suits from, Batman Returns and, all those Batman movies. I was like, "Are you
Wow.
sure these are real?" And they're real. I
Yeah.
was like, "Why doesn't the Academy have this or some other place?" It's just interesting, but, I'm glad that this person is, sharing it with the world, and,
Yeah.
he had, the Jurassic Park 3 T-Rex head, he had the Lost World Buck head, the real Spinosaurus, a lot of the raptors from Jurassic Park. It was
Yeah.
intense seeing, like I was like, "Wait a minute." I never thought I would ever be able to see these in person, so I was like, "I'm taking
Yeah.
a million pictures." It was only like
Oh,
20
yeah.
bucks to go. It was
Oh, really?
inexpensive. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's definitely yeah, that's definitely gonna have to be a place to go when I ever head out that direction. Cause like I got that feeling down in Orlando, like when they did the tribute store, during the
Yeah.
Velocicoaster
Yeah, you
promotion. And
went you went to that, I'm so jealous. Oh my god.
yeah, inside the tribute store, there was a bunch of props and things, like literal things from the film. And it just
Mhm.
like seeing those things up close and personal, like that was like, you can't beat that, right? Like, it's just
No.
such a cool feel. Like, all of these visions are just flashing through my head of those things, those props in the films, and I'm like, "Wow, this is
Yeah.
this," they're like, these characters touch these things. Like, this was right there on that set. That's so
It's the craziest
incredible.
thing, and I honestly like, I feel bad saying this because I know the Icons of Darkness people are doing a great job, but I wish that someone would buy back those Jurassic things and put them
Mhm.
somewhere safer or for other fans to see or preserve them somehow, but, like, who knows what's gonna happen to them type thing, but I know a lot of fans are like, why isn't that, like, at Universal in, like, a glass case or something?" Like, people would die for
Uh,
that stuff, so that's just my 2 cents that it should be we should hit up Colin and be like, "Hey, Colin, is there any budget? Can you go buy those
I
back?"
know. Yeah, but even the theme parks are pretty bad about like, their preservation of a lot of things,
Yeah.
things that like screen used cars and stuff just like sitting out there looking like they're rotten or
I
paint
can't
jobs that
believe
are
it.
weird. And you're like, this is wild. Like, this is history. And you come to realize that like these studios don't necessarily care too much about the history overall. Like, I had a conversation with Michael Mattasino.
Mm,
He actually he's the one who kind of remastered and reworked the scores that came out on La La Land Records a few years
oh,
ago. And we were talking about the original, I guess, tapes and stuff that they had, and they were literally just sitting on a shelf waiting to be thrown away. And like they were just basically like, the tape is just like disintegrating, and it's just like,
yeah,
how do you let this stuff just go? And
yeah,
yes, I wish we had like a place to preserve these stuff. I know George Lucas is setting up like a museum, right? Like something like that
so
for his
smart,
Star Wars
so
stuff. So
smart.
like that's what we need for Jurassic. I know it
Yeah,
doesn't get the love and the respect all the time, but stuff like that would be great for Jurassic fans.
I
We,
agree.
we deserve it.
Especially like what is it? ILM and, Phil Tippett and all them, like, they worked
Hmm.
so hard
Oh,
on that stuff, so, like, you would think that would be somewhere, but one day,
well, yeah. And plus you see all of this like, really, really detailed and cool stuff just going up for auction. And then at that point, it's like, yeah, I guess the auction houses know where everything is going, but like,
Mhm.
stuff is just out there in the wild in somebody's house on their shelves. They paid for it because it's an awesome piece of thing. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
I want to see it too. Come on. You know?
so true. My god.
I have a question for you. So I gotta ask, and this kind of ties into what you were just saying about, when I'm out in California, I'm really lucky to get a lot of cool stuff out here. I gotta ask you, do you directly like contact Mattel and say, hey, send everything that you have to my Target? Because I have never seen anything like that before. I've never like
Okay,
anytime you go to like a Target or some other store, it's just like shelves
pristine.
galore. I
Yeah.
cannot believe it. And then literally before this recording, I went to Target. I picked up a few things, nothing Jurassic, but like there was just it was just a mess. And that's my Target all the time. Is just a mess. Stuff
Well, okay.
strewn about, and yours
So
every time I'm like, what is going on? What is this Target?
So here's the story behind the Target. It's not just one Target. This
Okay.
is this is going to be the most Orange County thing that I ever say. So I'm sorry, Orange County people and people that think Orange County is trash. Oh, it's actually great here. The I within my vicinity, within like 10 miles, I think I have like 13 Targets.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
I'm very lucky as far as stock goes. And on the way to work, I think there's like 5 Targets. On the way
Wow.
back, if I take a different route, there's like 4 more Targets. So it's like I really want to stop at a Target. It's not that hard for me, and it takes me like 45 seconds.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and depending on the day, some of the Targets are just like what you're describing. Is like they'll have like a Hammond barely hanging on the shelf, and maybe like
We don't
one.
even have that. Like, it's not that has not ever reached my
Oh,
store ever.
oh
Like,
gosh.
my problem is I am at the farthest end of like the country. So you guys, California gets stuff pretty quickly, and then
Yeah.
you'll showcase something in a video. I think you show the Apatosaurus the other day, I think.
Today, yeah.
That will not be here for like another month or more.
Oh
Like
no.
it'll take so long to get out to my store. I guess just because of like the supply chain and like out in my area, it's just like literally in the middle of nowhere in
Yeah.
New Jersey, and like it's just yeah.
Mhm.
So
I
it's just
I guess
wild. But like
I gotta say that I am very lucky when it comes to that stuff. There is a lot of Jurassic stock, and then when
mhm.
everybody else was going through that phase where Walmart was completely empty, and when Target was like kind of not having too much stock, I was going through the same thing. Like all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
13 Targets were pretty much empty too, but right now it's pretty stacked. So I'm very excited
Yeah.
about it. I do have to refrain and be like, you don't need that. Like, look at the shelf behind you. Like, holy
Mhm.
moly, you have no more room, and you should save your money. And the thing is, like, I always tell this to people, like when they're like, oh my gosh, you must be super rich and all this kind of stuff. And that's not the case. I think every month I put aside like $100 to go get Jurassic stuff. And
Mhm.
I actually like a lot of budget for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know I'm gonna want stuff. I know that there's certain things that I really want and some things that I don't. But that's my advice that I give to people is like, if you really want to become a really good collector, you don't have to be super rich. You have to just make sure that you don't go too wild and you just allow a
Yeah.
little bit of a budget, I guess,
Yeah.
if you
Luckily, a lot
can.
of
If
this
you can, obviously.
yeah, yeah, it is tough to say because a lot of the stuff is cheap, but it's all relative. Like and I'm bad. I guess I have 4 different boxed things just sitting on my desk. This just showed up today.
Hey, I'd
But
want
like
that Kenji.
these
So
are
cool.
pretty cheap. I mean, this one here I got from like another toy store. It was 9.95 instead of
You're
like
so lucky.
what are
You're
they
so lucky
usually?
that you found the baby Brachiosaurus. A lot of people are not finding baby
I I
Brachiosaurus.
I know. Yeah, I was able to I grabbed 2 of them, but they're
Good,
not
good.
in stores. It was like online somewhere.
Mm.
But like, they're cheap enough. Relatively speaking, a lot of these things are fairly cheap. So
Yeah,
you can kind of, you can set aside $100 and get like
50 to
a pretty
100
good
bucks a month
amount.
can go pretty far, honestly.
Yeah.
Because when I do the Jurassic toy drive that I'm trying to do every year, I'm definitely doing it
Yeah.
this year. When I did that, there was a sale that Target had during Christmas time where it was buy two get one free, and that
Mhm.
really helped my toy drive last year because I could buy
Mhm.
two, Indominus Rexes and then get a third one for free type thing. So
Yeah.
it really helped. The sales are amazing. Target does a really good job about sales too.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye
Yeah.
out for that, Mattel fans.
Yeah, I do feel like every few months or every few weeks, sometimes you see just like a little, thing pop up on the shelf there, and you're like, "Oh, sweet!" Like, and
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of doing like what you just said. Like, well, I gotta look at the stuff and be like, my shelf behind me is pretty full. I don't have enough room right
yeah.
now. It's like I feel like I am running out of space quickly because all of these toys they add up. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many,
But
and
like
I'm
how
always
lucky are we? How lucky are we to
I
have
know,
these beautiful, beautiful toy like I would have
yeah,
never imagined a lot of this stuff. I know a lot of people are like, it might not look 100% or whatever it is, but you gotta realize that if you look at it, a lot of these toys are pretty incredible. Like
hmm yeah,
dinosaur species are hard to get right. I mean, because everybody has an opinion, but Mattel does it right in the sense that it's very movie accurate for the most part. Like I just opened the Apatosaurus head and I was like, this looks exactly like
Hmm.
the Apatosaurus in Jurassic World that Owen and Claire are
Hmm.
like watching die type thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's sad and amazing at the same time because the detail on the head is incredible. So I was
Yeah.
just like, this is amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. Originally I saw a lot of people complaining, hey, it doesn't look like the one from the film, but I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This looks identical
It
to me.
really
Like
does. It does. It does.
yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, there's issues here and there, and there's definitely things
Yeah.
to complain about, but like,
Actually, I do. I got it right here. Let's see.
oh, look at it. Let's
There
look.
it
Oh,
is.
look at that thing. It's so
It
big.
is ginormous. If you
I
obviously, if
can't
people are
wait.
listening, they can't see it, but
Ah. Oh,
it's
true.
it's
It's
huge.
amazing. It
But
is
it's
so
actually
big.
really light. I can like,
Yeah.
but
I don't know
anyways,
where I'm gonna put one. Like I said, I've literally ran out of space in here, and I'm
it's
like wedging
huge.
things all over the place. And I have two brachiosaurs right here, and I don't know, I don't have any more room on my desk, so
Incredible.
it's gonna be interesting when that shows up. I canceled one of mine because I originally ordered two, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this second one. Like, and
Mhm.
that's what I've been trying to be a little like more thrifty when it comes to like buying these things. And right now I feel like we're at this time where like there's so much still coming out, but I don't need all of it.
Yeah.
I've never been a collector where I need each and everything. I try
Mhm.
to pick and choose, but
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
think
more recently I've been more choosy.
the only thing that I need every single one of is the Velociraptors. Mattel has like a million different
Yeah.
of like the same pose or whatever it is, but I'm
Yeah,
sticking with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I need all those different colors. I think they're amazing. And I kind of
I
really like the Amber collection too. So it's like, what do I do?
Yes. Yes. When it came to the Raptors, I was in that mindset from the beginning. I'm like, I'm gonna just get every one of these. I love these Raptors, and I still do. I still like them all, but I
Mhm.
I kind of fell off that bandwagon a little bit, and
Yeah,
I've been
because
like, there's so many. There's
some of them are
you know
really hard to get too. So
yeah.
you find yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's hard, but and you said the Amber collection too. Like that is and that's another one that's like a lot of people complain about the look and the style of some of these things, and yeah, for
Mhm.
sure they are definitely not very accurate overall,
Yeah.
in a lot of cases. But that being said, I still absolutely love that line, and I
The
still,
human
get it.
figures are if I was if I was 8 years old and I got an Ellie Sattler and a Alan Grant and
Yeah.
all those different characters like that, I think I'd be the happiest kid alive because I know I ran my Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler figures to the ground, and
Yeah.
they did such an incredible job with the Amber Collection figures. So
Yeah. All right, so let's move over to, we talked a little bit about we didn't really talk about Jurassic Park and the influence and stuff like that, but I think we
mm,
get it. I mean, like, it is just so
we
influential. I want to move
know.
into, yeah, we know, we get it. I want to move into like the sequels a little bit. You mentioned The Lost World, and you were a little a little afraid of it and stuff like that. I feel like that film is like top tier with the first one. I have a hard time deciphering which one I like more, to
Mhm.
be honest.
Lost World is my favorite movie. So I forgot to say that, but Lost World is my
There
favorite.
we go. There
Yeah.
we go. See, I feel like the train, we're gonna have to have more cabins on this train because it's just getting longer and longer. I feel like there's more of us out there now. So that's
Yeah.
good. I'm glad to hear that. And like, everybody's like, yeah, but gymnastics. I'm like, I don't care. I like that scene so much, you
I
know?
do you know what's funny about that gymnastics scene? As a kid, I recreated it on like the jungle gym type thing.
Sure. Yeah.
I would pretend to be Kelly and I would kick something, not another human or anything like that.
That kid
But
that's down there.
I would
Sorry.
do that. I would do that move that she does with the hands where she would
Uh,
flip to the other side type thing. And you know what? Gymnastics or not, like um The Lost World reminds me of cloudy days for some reason.
mhm.
I think that's because a lot of it was very moody. And
Oh
if it's
yeah.
a cloudy day, I'm like, oh, I should watch The Lost World right now.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, like, you have two Rexes. The cliff scene is I don't know how many times I recreated the cliff scene with my action figures. on like off the side of my bed or whatever it is, like that that score, like Saving
Yeah.
Sarah, I think is what it's called. Um, that's my favorite score from a Jurassic film, obviously besides the theme itself. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love Sarah Harding. I love Julianne Moore,
Mhm.
and that's The Lost World is just the best. I love Jurassic
Yeah.
Park is literally that's like, you know, that's the thing that everybody loves, and it's kind of like you can't not like Jurassic Park, but Lost
Mhm.
World's a little more niche, and people love it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do. I don't know about everybody, but we'll see.
Yeah, Sarah Harding, Julianne Moore don't she doesn't get enough credit. It's such a great character, and I keep talking about her and Dominion and being like, she deserves to be there. If you were to call somebody in a dinosaur situation at this point, like, hey, there's dinosaurs, loose in California. Who are you calling first? I think I would almost probably call her first over anybody. I'm like,
Yeah.
she knows like the habits of all these predators and stuff like
Mm,
that. I'm like, I want her by my side to help track
yeah.
these things down or do
And I
whatever.
don't I
Like,
don't know how they'll get away with that. If maybe if Julianne Moore does not come back like at all,
mhm.
I don't know how they'll get away with will it be like I guess Ian has always been a womanizer. So
Yeah.
I guess in that sense, like he just wrote her off and maybe they broke up a year after Lost World or whatever it is. I don't
Oh
know how you could
gosh.
break up with someone after that like crazy of an experience, but
Yeah.
maybe it did happen and maybe he just forgot she existed and that's the end of the story and that makes me so depressed. But
I know. No,
or
I want
she's still around and they're married and they had 15 more kids because Ian had 10 kids. So I don't know.
I yeah, I that the ending of The Lost World is like such a precious like little moment like there. They're on the couch asleep and this
Yeah.
incredible, speech by John Hammond right there on the TV transitioning into that ending. It's just the best ending I think of any Jurassic film,
The
hands
best.
down. Like
The best.
it's incredible.
Yeah. I
That
agree.
film is hard to beat. So when it comes time to watch Jurassic Park 3, um, you know, I know in my case, I was in high school, so I was maybe like too cool for Jurassic at this point. I'm like,
No way. Okay.
I'm into other things at this
Wow.
point in time. Where was your head, Jurassic Park 3? So you're a little bit younger, I believe. So
I,
it's
I
like, where
was
were you at?
I was 11, so I was still a nerd. I was still into Pokemon. It was all about Pokemon at that time for me. Oh my god, Pokemon and Britney Spears. Holy moly! Um, but I remember I was in Canada actually when I watched Jurassic Park 3 because I was
Oh
visiting
man.
family up there. And like I said, during my birthday, they bought me that big gate set that had the Jurassic Park gates and it has like the fence around it. I had
Mhm.
that. And I saw it in theaters there with my family. And funny enough, they showed The Lost World on TV on TNT, I believe, the night before. And I
Mm.
remember just like laying on the floor with my cousins, and we were all watching The Lost World. Jurassic Park 3 for me, I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, there's another Jurassic Park movie. And
Yeah.
when Grant is back, and I, in my head, I confused um, what's her name? Oh my god, the short hair. How am I forgetting? Amanda Kirby. I For some reason I was like hoping that she'd be like a new Ellie type thing,
Uh-huh.
but then Ellie was in the movie, so I was just like, as a kid, I was just like, what is happening? I'm very confused. And the action figure was this like blonde lady that looked like super
Yeah.
like, badass type thing, and Amanda Kirby is the exact opposite of that. So it's like, but no, I Jurassic Park 3 for me
Yeah.
was exciting, and then I just remember seeing a clip on, Entertainment Tonight, ET, saying, like, "Jurassic Park 3 is a flop," and, I remember seeing that live, like, it didn't make enough
Yeah.
money and all this kinda stuff, and it kinda like, as a kid, I was like, "Oh, did it did no one like it?" Or, like, I was thinking, like, "Did it really do bad?" Or whatever it is, and I
Mhm.
think the person on the TV was like, "This is the end of, they're not gonna give Jurassic another try," or whatever, and I think
Oh,
that
man.
that devastated me as a kid. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
and then 14 it took 14 years until the next one, so that I think that was it was kinda telling. I was like, "Oh my god, Jurassic is dead, like, this is the
Yeah.
worst day of my life."
And did you like the movie? Were you into it when you first saw it?
Yes, I was
Be
11,
honest.
so
Be
I loved
honest.
every
Okay.
second of it.
Yeah.
Looking back
Yeah.
on it now, watching it on, like, 4K and Blu-ray and all that kind of stuff, I have to be in a mood to watch Jurassic Park 3,
Mhm.
and when I am in the mood to watch Jurassic Park 3, I like it for what it is. I'm glad it happened. I know a lot
Yeah.
of fans are not glad they're not glad that it happened. I'm glad it told a little more of the story of Alan and Ellie, but it's not the story that I wanted.
Yeah.
So, it's a
Yeah.
very interesting film. Let's just stick with that.
It is. It is. Well, you were at a great age because that was, around that time for me was The Lost World, and that's why I feel like that movie had such a big impact on me is because
Mhm.
that's like such a golden few years right there, 11,
The
12,
merchandise and
in
everything.
there. Yeah, it was unbeatable that time frame. So, yeah, moving on to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Actually even before that, what kept you interested during those 14 years? Was there anything that like you were keeping an eye on? Did you kind of just move on? Did you, you said like you were devastated, like, but 14
Um,
years is a long time.
it it wasn't that's when I, went to junior high and high school and the worst years of my life. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding. But, like, I think what's funny is there I remember going on to comingsoon.com or comingsoon.net, I think it was,
yep. .net.
and
Yeah.
my favorite page on comingsoon.net was they listed every movie that was coming out in the next, like, 10 years or something like that, and it
It
would
was
list
like
it
I feel like on
by
the bottom
face.
right of that website, there was like a list of all upcoming movies, and that was the same website that I went to as well. I was like,
Yeah,
this is where I gotta find that news, you know?
and I remember there being a Jurassic Park 4 on there at
Mhm.
some point, and I just remember losing my mind and checking it, like, every day that I could. When is this
Yep.
happening?
Yep.
Oh my god, freaking out, and it didn't happen. And I think that's why like movies like Cloverfield and that kind of stuff really caught my attention because I think I was so thirsty for that where I was like, I need
Mhm.
something mysterious. I need and when the trailer for Lost first premiered in a movie theater, because I the first time I saw the trailer for Lost was in a movie theater, and it
Oh,
it
wow.
alluded to it said that it was coming to ABC on TV and whatever, but it
Mhm.
alluded to it being like a Jurassic Park TV show, the first trailers, because it was, shot on the
There's
same, island in Hawaii and all that kind of stuff. And I was like,
yeah.
oh my God, they're making a live action Jurassic Park show.
Yeah.
My life is complete, whatever. And
Yeah.
that is
There's
definitely
something in that jungle. What is it? I don't know.
oh my I literally was like, "Oh my god, the Rex is back, like, Velociraptors are
Yeah.
coming." That is the
Oh,
exact
man.
opposite of what Lost was. Uh,
Just a little different. It's not, a little bit farther off, but
just a little bit. But you know what? Those years were I guess that gave me time to appreciate Jurassic a little bit more, and then when Jurassic World came about,
Mhm.
the first news about it and all that kind of stuff, like, it said that it was going to be directed by Colin Trevorrow, and I was like, "I don't know who Colin Trevorrow is," so I did some
Yeah.
Googling on him, and, you know, he was brand new at the time as well, so, like, he did a couple short films and then, Safety Not Guaranteed, and obviously we all Googled like, who is this guy? Who's
Yeah.
Colin Trevorrow?
Yeah. Let's
And
check out this Safety Not Guaranteed, and we all loved it, I feel like. It was a great movie.
I love that film.
Yeah.
And the thing is, yeah, I was like, why isn't it Steven Spielberg? And I don't think it
Mhm.
registered for me that Jurassic Park 3 wasn't by Spielberg. I think I knew when I was younger it wasn't because it just felt a little bit different. Um, so I was anxious to see like what Colin would do with Jurassic World, and then I like the set pictures started to come out, and then I just remember being so excited, and I really wanted a cameo by one of the older characters. That definitely did
Yeah.
not happen.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay because Jurassic World, you know, I saw it in IMAX. I wasn't a part of the community, so I didn't go to any premieres. I didn't get invited to like this, and that, or whatever. I was just a normal fan still during
Mhm.
that time, and all my friends and everybody knew that I was obsessed with Jurassic Park and World and that kind of stuff. So it
Yeah.
was, I was how old at that? I was 25, and everybody knew I was like this big dino nerd, and I still am. Um, but it was really exciting. I cried when they opened the hotel room, windows,
Yeah.
all my friends, I think I went with like 7 friends to go see Jurassic World in IMAX
Yeah,
opening night. And everybody, of course, turned towards me and they were just like, "Are you crying?" And I'm like,
of course, yeah.
"Oh."
No,
But it
I'm
was
not.
so emotional for me because I was like, "This
Yeah.
music is going to ruin me," because it was so well done. The way
Hmm.
I was just as excited as, the kid was, walking up and going to the hotel room and that kind of stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen the park open for the very first time, and, all that stuff that failed in the past. I know it's fake, but you know what? It was, well, like, if I had a chance, I would totally Jurassic World. Now, would I go
Yeah.
see the actual dinosaurs and stuff? Yes, but, just seeing the park open, that kind of stuff was just it was overwhelming at first for
Yeah.
me as a
Yeah.
fan.
And I believe you're a big theme park fan as well. That plays into it for me too. It's just like this. I want to like actually visit a place like this. I want to be able to go and take a
Yeah,
tour and do all this stuff and see Mr. DNA as this little mascot and like I so every aspect of like them opening that door and then showcasing the entire park in Jurassic World was
mhm.
just mind blowing at that time. That was
Yeah,
like
and
such a tear inducing moment for sure. And I still literally to this day that like I want to see more of that area. Like I know we
I
really haven't gotten a ton in Camp Cretaceous and stuff like that, but there's so many unexplored areas there that I'm just like, can I just do like a VR walkthrough of this entire place?
I
Like,
that's such a
let
great
me.
like, I wanna walk into Tyrannosaurus Kingdom, and
Mhm.
I wanna, like, make that left to go to into the T-Rex Kingdom. I wanna make a right, go towards, like, where the IMAX theater was and all,
Yeah.
like, what's beyond that? From overhead, you can see that there's a Jurassic World water park, and you can see that in
Mhm.
the movie. I'm like, "Wha Excuse me, can we go see this water park that I can that's not being
Yeah.
shown?" Or,
Yeah.
um, I kinda wish that they did more with that because they did so much with the marketing with this movie, like the
Sure.
JurassicWorld.com
Mhm.
made it real. And I think Colin said this was like, I want kids to go on this website and tell their parents, I want to go here, even though
Mhm.
it's not even like a real thing. And
Yeah.
they did an amazing job with that. I just wish
Uh-huh.
they filmed more stuff.
I know. Yeah, I love everything that's on film and in this movie, but yeah, and the website was great. You got those like behind the scenes like video, cameras that are just set around the park, and like you
Yeah.
just see people like doing normal things, which was amazing. And then it transitioned, after
Yeah.
the downfall of the park. This is like some really awesome stuff going on in that website,
Hmm.
and has been basically dead since then. So let's come on, Universal, let's get that going. But but it's a place that I just wish we could visit more and see more of because I don't know if you got a chance to see the live tour. I know it didn't really make it out that way, but there's like little things in that show that you're like, oh my god, this is the most it's just nothing area, in a park. But I wish I'm so glad
Yeah.
we see this. I'm so glad we're seeing this right now, and it matters so much to me. Like, how
And
cool is this
you're
spot
so
in
lucky
in
that you
in the
got to see
park?
that. It actually got canceled, right when it was supposed to when I was supposed to go see it, a week before it got canceled, and
Yeah.
coronavirus came and ruined that for me,
Yeah,
but that's
well,
okay.
it'll be on the horizon again. I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry, but it's a sad thing. But there, things like that, and Camp Cretaceous opening up the
Mhm.
world a little bit, and even Fallen Kingdom helping to show some different aspects as well. Like that's super cool. So,
I agree.
Fallen Kingdom is awesome. I love that movie so much. I know
I
a lot
just
of
watched
people
it.
dislike it. It's got that
Yeah.
Lost World vibe for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, I don't like this one. It's not as good as Jurassic World, but like to
Yeah.
me, man, that movie's like better than Jurassic World at times. I'm like, this is amazing. I love this one so
So,
much.
I watched Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom last night.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I
I
saw your tweets actually. Yeah.
I honestly saw it through new eyes because I gave it a little
Hmm.
bit of time,
Hmm.
to watch. I haven't every time I put on Fallen Kingdom, I'm either on my computer photoshopping something or whatever it is, and I actually just sat there. I
Yeah.
tweeted a little bit or whatever, but like I sat there and watched the film, and there's so many little quirks and so many little details that nobody's looking at. I need
Hmm.
everybody to go watch Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, and I need you to just stop thinking about how does this compare to, The Lost World or Jurassic Park or Steven Spielberg or whatever it is?
Hmm.
Just watch the movie for, look at the background elements, look at what's going on with the Indoraptor, how it moves, how, the CGI is done, how just notice the little things. I know the story
Hmm.
is, I love the Jurassic Park part, and I know J.A. Bayona is a very interesting director when it comes to, he wanted like the princess in the castle type thing, and that's a
Hmm.
very Bayona thing, and that's fine. I think that threw people off a little bit, but you know what? Maisie's character is very interesting as well. So it's the little things. Like I think people just picked up on like, oh, they're picking up like they're doing a throwback to Jurassic Park with her like pulling down the thing. Like, yeah, okay, we get that. We get the references
Hmm.
now, but let's look at the new stuff that they did. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of great. It's such a big movie with the explosions and like them
Yeah.
running to follow the boat and all that kind of stuff. There's so much going on that I feel like
Yeah.
we'll just need to take a step back and like sit down and watch it one more time in 4K or Blu-ray or something like really high
Yeah.
quality. Just watch it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that'll just watch it once in the theaters and, maybe dislike it and then never return. It's such a bummer that like, and it's I can't fault people for not returning, but because these
Yeah,
days like we were saying before, it's like you can't turn the corner without all. Yeah, hey, I'm already watching something else. It's like I've got it on my phone. I'm walking here and I've got something else new on, and it's like
yeah,
it's hard to stay focused on one movie. So, but I love that movie so much, and I agree with that. There's so many new things, so many interesting things, and I love that they took a chance on the haunted mansion,
yeah.
style of production there in the second half. It's just it's
Hmm.
so cool to me, and I love all the Universal monster type references, and,
Oh yeah,
the fact that this movie is, like, so many layers of different, paying homage to, like, so many different things, and, like, there's
hmm,
Indiana Jones vibes, there's, like, Jason Bourne, there's, like, so many
yeah,
different things in this movie that you can get from it, and I
yeah.
love everything about it, and it's just it's so, so good to me, and,
I
to
really,
me, I'm like,
really,
I put it right probably in number 3, in the
right.
list of everything, and that's not I know, like, 3 is like, it's like average, here because we're talking about 5
No, no,
movies, but,
no.
like
But we
but
get
the
like that
first 2
totally
are
makes sense.
top tier. Yeah, the first 2 are top tier, so it's like, I
Yeah,
feel like it's right under there, it's really
yeah.
close for me. I love it so much, so it's a good one, and I'm interested to see this as a jumping off point.
Yeah, and it was a middle film, so they were allowed to experiment a little bit where with
Mhm.
the things that they did, but you know, you can't please everybody, and it was part
Yeah.
of the story, and hopefully it leads to something great for Dominion for everybody. So that's exciting.
So, around this time period, I wanna talk about your work as well because we haven't really touched on that at all.
Yeah.
So, I know you, I think you've been kind of vocal about it. I believe you talked about it in, the Jurassic June live stream that, like, you created, like, a Jurassic World poster, based off of, like, different kind of, like, assets and stuff like that, and it was kind of comparing, how far you've come, and, like,
Mhm.
bring us back to, like, that time period, and when did you start, like, officially, like, creating and working on your own posters?
I remember taking a class in 2003 for Photoshop. They were like doing a hybrid class to see if kids actually liked computer. It was called computer graphics, um, and I remember doing a revamping the poster for the Lizzie McGuire movie. That's
Mhm.
so embarrassing to say, but here I am. And I remember just being like, okay, this is kind of cool, and it was so bad. It was disgustingly bad. But I was just getting to
It's
know
it's
Photoshop.
2003, it's
I didn't even know how to cut out things. I didn't know how what like the filter were like all the different filters and all that kind of stuff were. But
Mhm.
fast forward to 2014, 2015. I took some of the stills from Jurassic World and composited it in a way that was a quote unquote poster. And I look back on it and I'm like, what is this? And I posted it once, I think, but um, I think I was trying to mimic a Drew Struzan, like a drawn
Okay.
look type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I can't draw to save my
Very
life.
stylized look, yeah.
the people that do the alternate posters that can like draw, they have every respect in the world for me.
Yeah.
But people that do photo manipulation, that's another whole nother
Mhm.
ballpark. But this poster that I created was supposed to be a true Struzan copy, and it was just so bad. It was just not great. It said a Colin Trevorrow film on top and had all the right characters. It had a futuristic city at the bottom. I don't know what I was thinking
You
with that.
never know. You never know.
And it's crazy to think I was 24 or 25 when I made this, so it's not that long ago. But
Yeah.
a lot of artists look back on their art and they're just like, "What was I thinking?" But then fast forward to now, and I think working on Jurassic posters so much has helped my skill a lot too. And I know a lot of other Jurassic artists and that kind of stuff out there can agree with this. Is the more you work on something and you look back a year later or 2 years later, it really does change the more that you work on it. Progress is really important if you stick with it. Um, and there was a period of time, I think earlier this year, for 30 days, I posted 30 brand new Jurassic posters. That was a really bad idea, but a really cool idea at the same time. So
Yeah, we always get ourselves into trouble with like Jurassic June and stuff like that, right? We always just put too much on the table.
yeah, I agree. But you know what? And I had that opportunity to do the Fallen Kingdom poster, and I think that's what really jump started everything for me was Colin Trevorrow and Universal and J.A. Bayona. I don't know who it was that said like, hey, like we should give Neemz a chance to design this poster. It might. Honestly, I need to thank Colin Trevorrow and J.A. Bayona because they kept on retweeting those fan posters that I did for Fallen Kingdom over and over again. Like everyone that I would post, they would share and they'd even like leave a comment. And I'm like, what is happening? This is. And I would wake up and there would be a notification from these directors that I didn't know at the time, and I was blown away. And I think that's when the fans started to get to know me a little bit better and all that kind of stuff. And that's what led to it was the timetable was very short because Fallen Kingdom was coming out in June, and they had given me the rundown of what they needed in like the end of May. So it was it was very quick, and it was kind of scary because I worked with a team at Universal that I think was like the digital marketing team, and they were honestly the best team ever. I think a lot of them are at different places now, and some of them are still at Universal, but they were so nice. I sent over, I think, like 14 different posters, and the one that got chosen is the one with blue that kind of looks like an Avengers poster, pretty much, with dinosaurs. And that experience was so incredible for me. And getting that, I got a DM on Twitter that said, "Hey, everybody's loving your posters. Would you like to make an official one?" And I was just like, I was at work and I was like, I need a moment. I'm gonna go walk outside.
And then that's when you turn to them and you're like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need it. It's fine."
I'm busy. No, that's when
I got a
I
lot on my
was like,
plate.
let's hop on a call. Let's talk about it and see, what is this going to turn into? And it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. And I can't say too much, but I'm working on more things now with them. Nothing for Dominion. I hope maybe one day, but I'm just putting that out in the universe. But I'm very grateful for everything I am working on right now.
Sending out those vibes. Yeah, that poster is super cool. Like I remember you posting a ton of stuff back then, and then this one coming out, and it was like, whoa, okay. Like this is pretty killer. Like this is awesome. And I think Jurassic World struggled a little bit with like, what kind of graphics are we going to put out there? What kind of posters are we going to put out there? And then, when Fallen Kingdom comes around, it's a very different vibe overall with their marketing. And this poster's super cool. I love the dinosaurs being basically like front and center. It's super cool.
Well, that was the hardest thing about that poster is they said no people. And I was like, well, what am I left with? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's a
Yeah.
dinosaur movie. Hello.
Yeah.
And
There's plenty.
so because I'm so used to like epic shots of, someone looking to the right, looking epic, and like, putting a dinosaur next to that type thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, how do I make these dinosaurs look cool? And I don't think I did not use an Avengers poster as like a reference. I don't really do that with my work. Is how it happens for me is I open Photoshop and I just start throwing things together, kind of like a puzzle. And
Yeah.
it just so happened that that turned out to be very, like the Carnotaurus being a different side. Like it's just like Blue being huge and front and center and all that kind of stuff. It just turned out to be like that. And reading the articles and stuff about it after it came out, it was interesting because some people were negative and then some people were like extremely positive. So I was like,
Mhm.
which one is it? Like, do people like it or do they not?
Well, it's a tough business to be in, right? Because you see these posters released all the time for films, and
Yeah.
some are more obviously better than others. But like sometimes I look at a poster and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then people are just trashing it. But like
Yeah,
so you got a little bit of both, but like you would
I
just feel
did.
like it was an overwhelming like good experience. Like because I didn't hear anything bad about like this poster at all. I think it's pretty awesome, and I love like how like crystal clear everything looks. It looks so good, you know?
Thank you. No, I think one of the headlines was like, "This Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom poster is not an abomination, but something along those lines." And it was like from a really big place too. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, "This doesn't bum me out." Like at first, I was like, "Oh my god, that's really sad." And then as time went on, like this is me gloated, like being not very humble, but like as time went on, like the poster won, I think like the top 10 or top 20 like posters from the 2000s or some like
Okay.
the poster did pretty well for itself as like a fan poster, I guess. So I'm very grateful for the experience. And honestly, like if I ever get a negative review like that, it's actually good because I read through it and I'm like, okay, what did they not like, and what
Mhm.
are things that people won't like about like future things that I make. So you can't
Yeah.
be bad about it. You kind of have to learn from it, type thing.
Yeah, I feel like around that time I did see a lot of articles that would pop up and be like fan created, and it was really like, putting the fan perspective on it, and
Yeah.
it's there, it's like a critic's way of saying like, oh, this is not as good as like a studio could make or something if they wanted
Mhm.
to be negative. So it's
Uh-huh.
all, and it's all about those websites out there. You're like, I trust some of your opinions, but like not
Yeah.
always, and then a lot of those sites, like I've followed like very I've been big followers of some of them for years, but like more recently I've been like, I can't, I
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. Like I just want to like have form my own opinion, and like,
Right.
I don't want to hear somebody else just, and it feels like this happens a lot on like a lot of those sites, is like they just pile on and you're like,
Sure.
especially when it comes to Jurassic, let me tell you, like
Oh yeah.
I
But
I
let's
have
not.
like so
I mean, I don't want to discredit like the positive people because like a lot of
no,
people
no.
outweigh I think there was less negative than there was positive. So like
Mhm.
honestly, positivity is the best thing, and the negative
Yeah.
ones just learn from it.
Of course. I was listening to a podcast today and they brought up Jurassic World, and anytime I feel like Jurassic World just gets brought up these days, like on a mainstream, like just like a film podcast or whatever, it's just like, oh, well, Jurassic World stinks, and you're like, come on, what do you like? What is going on? Like, why is there such negativity like surrounding all
Mm,
this? Yeah, sure, it's not Jurassic Park, but like,
yeah.
it's pretty great. I think it's pretty great on it, in
I
its own
mean,
accord. So,
the thing is the numbers don't lie, and that's the thing
mhm.
with Jurassic that kind of bugs me, is Jurassic is just as big as a Star Wars, and it's just
Yeah,
as big
yeah,
as like a Marvel film. Um, and when I walk into a store, I see 6 million Star Wars merchandise like things, and
yeah,
I might find a Jurassic like pencil, and I'm
yeah.
like, what is happening here? Like I know that it is expensive for Universal to get like licensing and all that kind of stuff, but there's a shift. Like there's this weird thinking that Jurassic isn't as important as
Mhm.
these other big franchises. And the thing is, like I said, the numbers don't lie. I remember
Mhm.
when Jurassic World came out, I had never seen lines like that to go see a movie, ever since, like, Harry Potter. Like, I remember
Mhm.
when Harry Potter was coming out, like, I remember sitting in line to go see the film, and I think when Jurassic World came out, it was one of the last films where there wasn't, like, preset seats where you can, like, choose your seat
Mhm.
before you go to the see the movie, which was kinda exciting, so, like, the lines to go see the Jurassic made me so happy because I was like, "I'm not alone." And I'm in the middle
Yeah.
of, like, Irvine, California, and there's all these people of all different kinda ages trying to go see this movie, and I was like, "Well, I'm happy now." So
Yeah.
I think Jurassic does not get enough credit at all. And there's a lot
Mhm.
of
Oh.
closeted fans. There's a lot of closeted fans.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there is so much positivity, and I think you've certainly gotten so much of that,
Yeah.
over the past few years, and it's worth, your stuff is worth it. Like it's all like super professional and like super like legit and very very cool looking. Yeah, like every single time. I know you sometimes you'll put like a little blurb. You're like, I don't know what I was doing with this one or something, but I'm like, what? Like it looks great.
Well, thank you. I really, actually, really, really appreciate that because sometimes I'm like, I open Photoshop and I'm like, I want to create something today, and I don't know what it's gonna be. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
start throwing some pictures together, and boom, there's something, and it makes it.
Mhm.
It's honestly my escape. And these days, I'm running out of time, but I always want to, design something Jurassic. So hopefully, more and more will come, and I promise that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was this same poster, right, that was featured on the movie bill, little, what is
The
that thing? The pamphlet thing that
The
they gave
movie
out
bill
around Jurassic
y
World, Fallen
yeah,
Kingdom.
yeah. The movie bill cover was actually a different graphic, but kinda
Oh, was
similar.
it? Okay.
The rea
Okay.
the reason why they look kind of the same, was because that poster that I did for movie bill was another poster that was in the running for the Fallen Kingdom poster,
Okay.
and they were like, can you utilize this, change it up a little
Oh,
bit?"
yeah, okay.
And
I
then
see it now, yeah, I can see how different it is.
they're no, yeah, you're fine, but they're very similar in the sense of, like, the coloring and that kind of stuff, but, um that's like halfway through the project they're like, we have a surprise, like, we really want this on another thing, or it's going to be printed a million times, and I was like,
Mhm.
what? Okay.
Uh,
You know what, as far as like design goes, and I'll be
uh,
very transparent, that's not my favorite design that I did. It's the Carnotaurus is a little bit small, and it's not exactly how I'd want it. I do love how Blue looks on it. I love how Rexy looks on it. It's not 100% me. Um,
mhm.
I mean, I did all of it, but it's not 100% like what I would want to be printed a million times. If I can go back in time and change it up a little bit, I totally would. But
Yeah,
I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited that so many people held it in their hands. And when I walked into the
yeah,
theater to watch Fallen Kingdom, I just walked in the theater and there's like 40 people holding up this little booklet. I'm like, oh my god, I
yeah.
made that. How did that happen? And it was very exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah, never got out to a Regal around that time. I did an interview with the Movie Bill people, and yeah, I remember learning all about how they made it and everything. So it's just super cool, and yeah, it does have that a very similar vibe to the other poster. And I think what I like about both of them is like like the reds and the oranges and how like the lighting is back there. Like even on the Movie Bill one, like it's just that color really really pops in the background against these dinosaurs and
The oranges.
super, super good, yeah.
Well, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And if you notice, I think I utilized some assets from the original Mattel packaging. So I took some of the foliage and that kind of stuff and used it
Oh, man.
in my posters. So if you look back on that little hint, I don't think I told
There
anybody
you
that,
go.
but check that out. It was kind of cool because
That's amazing.
they gave me some of the assets from the Mattel packaging, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna use some.
Yeah.
The foliage looked really good, and I was like, I'm obsessed, so I'm putting this on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, there is like a consistency, I think,
Yeah,
between, yeah, your original poster, this, the Mattel stuff. It's just that bright, orangey look. Like it's
mhm,
super, super cool. Everything about that is awesome. And it's
thank
it's
you.
interesting because like you never at least on these two, there's no usage of the Indoraptor at that point. It's like
Yeah,
and I think by that
they
point that we had probably seen it, right? Like in
yeah,
trailers or whatnot, but like
I
Yeah,
think
it's interesting that it's not there.
on the actual Indoraptor like asset itself, it was like do not use until this
Nah.
date. So yeah, I
Of
was
course.
definitely not allowed to use that. I think though in the running was an Indoraptor poster that I did. So
Mhm.
it just wasn't chosen. So there was that. But I think I'm sorry, the thing that they told me was don't mix the Indoraptor with the other dinosaurs, is what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? Like, for
Yes.
the most part, it's like, hey,
Mhm.
these aren't really connecting, you know, it's where we don't wanna get the point across that the Indoraptor is on the island. I mean, that would have been
Exactly.
great if they confused us ahead of time, you're like, "Whoa,
Oh
where is
yeah.
this thing?"
Yeah.
But
Very true. But yeah, that's
but
how that.
it is so great though that this style that, they directed you on is like, "Hey, we don't want the humans front and center." It's such a interesting choice and a unique choice, and I mean, you know what you're getting, like, this is a Jurassic movie, this is about the dinosaurs,
Right.
for most of it, and I love that, I think it's pretty cool.
And another thing for like any future movie poster designers out there, uh, a lot of studios have problems with putting people on posters, depending
Mm.
on who. Like, can I make Laura Dern bigger than Sam Neill, or does
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum need to be positioned in front type thing? I'm not saying that that's happening with Jurassic because I've never dealt with that. But like for
Sure,
other
yeah.
films, like different like Avengers films, like how big are you going to make Robert
Mhm.
Downey Jr. compared to a Chris Evans type thing? So there's a lot of.
It's Yeah, it's always so interesting seeing that, and I always question that myself. I'm like, "Why is this person like,
Mhm.
this person's more prominent, but they're tiny," and you're like you always overanalyze everything
Right.
about a movie poster. You're like, "Yeah, like, this person's on that side, this person's on this side, there's bad guys over here, it looks like,
Yeah.
but that person's over there." There's so many different things that you're, like, looking at,
Mhm.
and you feel like there's a lot of subtleties and, like, just things that are, like, giving you clues and answers, so
Right. And
it's a
I think
lot
another.
it's a lot to come up with, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to come up with, and I think a lot of it has to deal with legal as well. So, like I said,
Mhm.
the timeline for my Fallen Kingdom poster was like literally 3 weeks, and it takes a long time for legal to go through it. I think that's why they said no humans, because if I had gotten the opportunity,
Oh,
let's say
yeah.
like 5 months prior, maybe there would have been people on it. But
Mhm.
since it was so soon, they knew that all the dinosaurs were approved and the background and the volcano, whatever. So they said just run with that because
Yeah.
it would just go through way quicker. So that's
Yeah,
that's the backstory.
they have yours, they have, like, two other more, like, prominent ones as well, like
Yes.
the one with, like, Owen and Claire kind of that one's, like, it got a lot of stuff on it as well. There's, like, gyrosphere, there's dinosaurs all over the place. I remember looking at that one and being like, "There are so many things, like, happening in this background, like, what dinosaurs are all of these?"
Yeah.
And, the other one is just, like, the T-Rex roaring, against the volcano, and that's another,
And
iconic shot as well.
that's a very funny story. Is that one was I don't want to say because of me, but the whole reason why Colin and everybody knew about my posters was because I created that original Fallen
Mhm.
Kingdom poster. Let me have it printed. Let's see.
Oh.
This one. Do
Uh-huh.
you remember
Yeah, I
this?
remember that. Yeah, yeah, I remember the
So
coloring. So with those, I was always like, "Man, he really extended the cloud, like, it's seamless." Like, I don't know how you do it, but, like.
So the story behind this one is I created this in like that's why it's not like the best poster of all time type thing, but the trailer dropped and I love the scene where Rexy is like that, obviously the most iconic
Yeah,
scene.
roaring against the volcano there,
And
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna make a movie poster out of this real quick. Just I had Photoshop open, I watched the trailer, took the screenshot, added some clouds, added some, smoke, and added the logo real big on the top. I called it a day,
Mhm.
posted it, and it was like I think like 5 or 6 minutes after the trailer dropped, and everybody was like, "Is this the official poster?" Like
Yeah.
it was very confusing, and I was like, "No." And then I think something happened where some Facebook or some website shared it, and
Mhm.
it went everywhere imaginable, and I was like, "What just happened?" It was very odd.
Mhm.
Nothing like that has ever happened again, but um, a lot of places started using it as the official poster, and I was like, "Oh no!" And then it ended
Yeah.
that the Fallen Kingdom, the actual official one, came out that looked very similar to this, and people
Mhm.
were like, "Oh, they stole Neemz's poster and all this kind of stuff." And I remember tweeting out and saying like, "Hey guys, like this shot is like the moneymaker shot. Like obviously they chose this for their marketing purposes, and
Yeah.
yes, the poster is kind of similar or whatever." And Colin tweeted back and said, "Hey, like this was the initial plan, was to release this shot as the official poster and all that kind of stuff." And he was very, very nice about it, and I think that's what
Yeah.
led to them asking me to do the poster as well, because they realized like I wasn't being rude about it. Like some artists would just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the studio sucks, they stole my thing." And I, I know marketing and I know how it works, and it wasn't like that. I was just like, you know what, I
It's
just
not
thought
gonna
the
get you
studio was
anywhere.
very yeah, exactly. It's not going to. But I
But
think
yeah, it's iconic, right? It's such a good shot to
yeah.
use.
So I mean, I forgot, completely forgot all about that. That's how the Fallen Kingdom poster thing started. Was that poster was the one that I did in 5 or 6 minutes and then just posted, and it just ended up everywhere. Which I'm grateful. Thank you everybody that shared that, because it kind of changed my life. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome to see, things progress, like, like that original Jurassic World poster to, what you created here and what you're still doing, every single day.
Mm.
What are your like goals set towards like for the future for like the next few years? I'm sure you're like, hey man, Dominion, like let's do it. Let's link up here. But like what else is on like in your mind? Like where do you want to see yourself like creating things?
Honestly, I would love to be a part of you know anything that's big and grand. I would love to be a part of.
Hmm.
My biggest goal is to walk into a movie theater and see one of my posters printed or on a digital screen. I've always wanted to do a book cover of some sort.
Hmm.
I love tangible things. So whether it's a book
Yeah.
cover or a Blu-ray cover or a steelbook cover, I want to walk into a Target and see something that I made. Like I want to
Yeah.
have the feeling. And I got very close with the Fallen Kingdom stuff and seeing it in the movie theaters and that kind of thing. That was very surreal. But I think the next thing that I'm going to work towards is, seeing my stuff on a tangible thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you're into other franchises too, so,
Mhm.
most of your stuff is centered around Jurassic, but, like, what other franchises would you, like, love to, like, create something for?
Oh my God, that's a hard question, because you know what? I love everything Universal. I love everything
Mhm.
Amblin. I do like Star Wars. Making Star Wars posters is a lot of fun. But yeah, I would say everybody wants to be a part of Disney. Everybody wants to be a part of Marvel. Everybody wants to be a part of that. But
Yeah,
it honestly depends on how good the photos are. For me, that's how it
sure.
is. So, like, I love the campaign right now for No Time to Die, and the Dune
Mhm,
posters that are coming out right now are incredible. Like they're the way that they're made is just so beautiful.
mhm.
So any kind of franchise like that is super fun. I love superhero films, but hopefully more Jurassic. I don't know if this is gonna bug Colin or not, but like anything that he works on, I think I'm gonna follow his career as well, and see if
Yeah.
we can make something for I think he has like what is that underwater movie that he comes Atlantis. He's working on Atlantis.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's right. I was trying to
Yeah,
think of what it was. I knew there was something on the horizon.
yeah, and he's doing a movie with Benedict Cumberbatch as well. So it's like,
Okay.
do I continue being a Colin Trevorrow like huge supporter? And I think I'll always will
Mhm.
be, because he helped change my life in a huge way. So why
Yeah,
not
yeah.
support him in any way that I can too? So I think that's another route that I'll take too. Whether he likes it or not, who knows?
Sorry, Colin. You can't get rid of him. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So going back to Jurassic, I want to talk about a few things. I know we've been going for a little while here, but
Mm.
I want to go back to Camp Cretaceous, and I want to talk about that for a second. So
Hmm.
as of this recording, we haven't really heard anything about season 4, but like, do you have any thoughts or expectations on the upcoming season here? Where's your head at when it comes to
Uh,
that show?
First of all, There is no upcoming season because they haven't announced anything, okay? No, I'm just kidding. Um, you know what? I love Camp Cretaceous. The last season actually scared me when I was watching the
Oh yeah.
Scorpius Rex in the tree. It was like 3 in the morning, and I was like half asleep and trying to get through the whole season. And this scene comes on where
Yeah.
it's like in the tree, and I'm like, this is scarier than Fallen Kingdom. What is happening? But you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know where the kids are going. Like, I want it to be Sorna, but there's a lot of people saying like, "Oh no, it's not Sorna, it's somewhere else." And then I was like, "Wasn't there a Site C as well?" So like, is it that or where? Like, because there's what is the five deaths? So there's five islands,
Yep.
right? So I don't know if they're going to an island. I don't know if they're going to a submarine. Like where? I don't know where these kids are going. It's very like you remember a series of unfortunate events. It's like that now, where it could literally be anywhere type thing.
Anything, yeah.
And
I know, yeah. It literally there's so many options at this time. Like Sorna's like the main one that everybody really wants, but they don't have to. There's so many other places they could go.
yeah, and what if they just end up on the mainland again and it's just like
I
boom,
know.
we're back. Uh, okay, that's it. But no, I
Yeah.
don't think that's what it's gonna be. But I honestly don't know. I'm very excited to find out what it is because I don't know. You're the lucky one that gets to see it a little bit earlier than I do. I gotta wait like all the other people. But um, honestly, it's if you haven't watched Camp Cretaceous yet, I'm not even like here to. I'm not being paid to say this. I think you should give it the how long does it take? Like 3 hours, 4 hours to
Yeah,
watch
it's pretty
each
quick.
season. It's pretty. It's very quick. Even if you want to fast forward through some stuff, that sucks. But you know what? Watch it and see how it all ties in because there's a lot of stuff that's in Camp Cretaceous that might be in Dominion as well. So, and honestly,
Yeah.
I hope that they're setting up for the live action show in some kind of way with Camp Cretaceous as well. I don't know how they would, but maybe.
I don't know. I've kind of put it out there and I'm trying to get this like sent out into the world, like make it happen, like that I want this show to skip ahead to like literally the timeline of hey, the dinosaurs literally just broke out of Lockwood, and like you see these kids are back at home and just chilling, and literally like they pop on the news and there's like cell phone footage of dinosaurs escaping in California, and they literally see Bumpy on TV and they're like, oh my god, like we got to go track down our friend Bumpy. We got to get
Oh
Bumpy
my
back.
god!
And like they assemble the Avengers and they all go out to try to track down Bumpy. I think that's what I want, and whether that becomes like a live action thing, I don't know if I've probably talked about that before, but like that would be super cool too. But like anything, if it's another season or something, I just want that to be a thing in the
Yeah,
future. But how
honestly,
it ties into anything is, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is me being like a huge nerd and a huge fan, but like if Dominion were to have like an end credit scene and it's Paul McHale Williams as a live action Darius because they
Hmm.
look exactly the same. That they
Yeah,
did
yeah,
him very well. A lot of actually every single one of those characters looks like their character. They
hmm,
could play them instantly like just
for
fine.
sure.
And I if like if Paul McHale Williams ended up being the live action Darius, that would be the coolest thing ever. And like, what if the end credit scene, was Darius getting a call from Dr. Grant or like a cell phone ringing on a table and it says like unknown number and then he picks it up and it's like Dr. Grant or whoever it is if he survives
Mhm.
Dominion, who knows. But like some kind of tie-in like that would lead to the
Yeah.
future of Jurassic and to make sure that people know, okay, Jurassic's not done because a lot of people think,
Mhm.
okay, this is the last thing ever. Like this is it. And,
Yeah.
and I think we need to make sure people don't realize, or people need to realize that it's not.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they've painted themselves into this corner of saying that this is like the end of the franchise in a way. Like they've had a few different quotes and things that like
Yeah,
make it seem like this is the conclusion of everything. Yes, it's just the conclusion of this, ongoing
this era.
story, but like
Yeah.
but there's so many more stories to tell, and I think
Mhm.
yeah, they definitely need to let people know so that they don't just like forget about it. But
Yeah.
Jurassic will always come back and everybody will figure it out
Yeah,
eventually. But
dinosaurs are
but
forever. Like there's no There's
Yeah.
I'm really afraid that, a Disney or something like that is gonna try to take the reins and do their own kind of dinosaur film, which, you know what, I'm very open to because Jurassic doesn't own dinosaurs, and
Yeah.
that's like very apparent.
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool to see a different iteration. But honestly, the way that ILM and all the artists and that kind of stuff that create these
Mhm.
dinosaurs is, especially watching that 5-minute preview of Dominion. Did you get to see that or no?
I did, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The way that they did that, like they could totally, like if they were gonna do a live action Land Before Time,
Mm.
which everyone would be so mad about. But like if they were to do it, it would be amazing. But like if they were to
Yeah.
continue doing like um, different dinosaur movies under the Universal umbrella, it would be kind of cool. But
Mhm.
I think it should stay under Jurassic. Now, if Disney and Marvel want to go into, because there's a bunch of Marvel stories that go into Dinosaur Land or whatever it's called, and
Mhm.
I don't know which superhero goes with, but they meet up with dinosaurs. So if like Disney's trying to get that
Mhm.
whole dinosaur game going, then that would kind of bug me, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's always so surprising that there's really no other franchise or series or anything out there dinosaur related, and it does make me concerned about the future of Jurassic in a way. Like after Dominion, you could definitely see them setting off with like a bunch of like spin-off stories that don't necessarily focus on the characters that you've come to know and love or the storylines that you know. Like the island is destroyed at this point, right? So it doesn't seem like we're going to go back there. So like what is
Mhm.
Jurassic without that tie to the
Yeah.
history and the lore?
Mhm.
Does it just become a generic dinosaur movie at that point? If it, yes, it'll have the logo, but like if it's just like some random people and some dinosaurs that we don't know, like
Yeah.
without Rexy or something like that, what does this franchise mean at that point? Does it
Mm.
become
I
some
think
dinosaur movie that just fails, you know?
I think it turns into longer episodes of Battle at Big Rock,
Mm,
honestly. So
yeah.
Battle at Big Rock felt very Jurassic to me, in the sense that it was the same artist that created the dinosaurs, and obviously Colin Trevorrow directed it, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
different. But I think that's what it turns into is what are these experiences that different people get into with
Mhm.
dinosaurs. I don't know how that looks. I don't know, if they're trying to find like now people have to go find places where there are no dinosaurs. I don't know how that works. I'm not a screenwriter and you're not a screenwriter. So, but I think that's what it turns into is longer episodes of Battle at Big Rock.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always the thing, and Big Rock does feel Jurassic, it has those assets that you're familiar with, that vibe that you're familiar with. But yeah, I wonder, does that ever run its course or anything like that without the history, without InGen,
Hmm.
without all that stuff? Like, what does that feel like? That'll be interesting. But the music, it's got to have that music. It's got to have some sort of tie to something to keep people interested, I think. So I
Yeah.
don't know how far they'll stray over time,
Hmm.
but, we gotta get to Dominion first. I'm very excited for that.
Oh
What
my
kind of things are you
goodness.
expecting from this movie?
From Dominion,
Yeah.
honestly, I I'm gonna need like Alan and Ellie to have like I need like 10 minutes of just Alan and Ellie to like wipe my palate type things, cleanse my palate because
Yeah.
uh, I'm gonna need Ellie to get a divorce from that dude. I'm gonna need her
Oh,
kids to
poor
like
Mark.
grow up. I'm gonna need, you know, um, but you know what? What I'm truly expecting from Dominion is I want to see how far the CGI has come. I want to see
Mhm,
how beautiful the dinosaurs look on screen. I hope the
mhm,
story is good because it's dealing with Owen and Claire, and now they have Maisie. It's dealing with Alan, Ellie, and Ian. It's dealing with Dodgson. I can never say his name correctly. Um, but it's dealing with all these characters that we have known for almost 30 years now, which is disgusting to
mhm.
say. I feel so old.
I know,
Um,
yeah.
but that's the thing. Is this movie gonna close out Jurassic? Is this movie gonna close out those story arches for all those characters?
Hmm.
Is this movie going to just end in an open way that invites these characters to come back again? Uh, I
Yeah.
don't know. There's so many questions. There's no trailers. You know what? It's like it's intense.
Yeah. So
So
so let me put you into the story room, like they're making up the story for this movie, and they come across the three original characters, and it's towards the end of the movie, and Colin says to you, "All right, so like one of the original trio, we're gonna kill him off. Who is it? Who you killing off of the original trio? Like nobody else, just the originals." It's a hard question. Like
so I would step out of the room. I would call Steven Spielberg. I would say, "Yo, Steven, they're gonna kill off a character." Steven would, you know, pop out of his house, drive over, and they'd say, "This movie's canceled," and that's it. We're not killing any of the characters. Um, no, honestly,
Oh,
if they were to kill off a character, I can't choose any of them. There's no way. I'm not doing that. We're not
I
playing this
know.
game.
Right? It's hard. I've done that same thing where I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess I would choose Ian, but no, I mean, maybe Grant. No, I don't know though, but like Ellie, no, definitely not Ellie.
Are
Ellie's
you
safe in my
kidding me?
mind. Like,
No.
yeah, like
But that's it, and everybody's like,
so
"Oh,
hard.
I want Owen to die," and it's like, why? Like he
I'll raise my hand. That's me. I keep saying that, and it has nothing to do with like a Chris Pratt thing or anything like that. I just think that
yeah,
like in terms of the I because what I would if one of those character if some character has to die in this movie, I always say I want it to be Owen because I want to see Blue's reaction. I think
oh,
that would kill me. Like to
oh.
see you're watching a pet basically mourn the loss of their
I
owner in a
know,
way, like,
I
and
hate
I
those
that would
videos.
just be horrible, you
I
know?
hate those videos when, a dog is at a cemetery and they know that their owner has passed away, like, those
Yeah.
videos are not okay with me, they're very
No,
sad,
I
um,
know.
but you know what, like, let's say Owen lived, I think Owen has to live for Maisie, and that's the thing, like, Maisie has always wanted a family or, like, she's
Yeah,
never had a
mhm.
real family, so there is a
Yeah.
benefit for Owen living. I'm
Mhm.
gonna be the complete opposite of you on this one and say, like, there is a benefit for this guy to stay alive, and I think, honestly, Claire deserves that too because her story arc is, it's not completed yet. They allude to it
Oh,
a
no.
lot in Jurassic World where it's like, you're gonna have a family one day too, and you're gonna, this, and that. So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. I'm obviously I love Alan, Ellie, and Ian more than anything in the world, but these other world characters have their story arches as well, whether or not one of them dies. What if it's just Bryce Dallas Howard's character, Claire,
Oh
that
my
dies? That would
that's,
just
like,
like
so
not be okay.
I would that would be so unexpected because, like, that I feel like she's not on my radar if when I have those conversations about, like, a
Mm-mm,
character dying. I feel like she's
mm,
gotta be safe, like and you bring up a very valid point about, like, the family aspect. I mean, these movies are always about families and the
yeah,
drama, the trauma surrounding families and stuff like that. And
Dave Spielberg.
yeah, I mean that would be interesting to have it end like happy instead of, you know, tearing apart something or other,
Yeah,
So that would be a very different, course, I think. It would kind of be like the Lost World where you get that moment where everything's happy, everything's good, they're together on the couch, and
mhm,
how great is that? That's kind of what you want, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And plus, yeah, sure, it leaves a door open for the future if they ever do want to revisit some of these
sure.
characters. But yeah, I don't know. I don't look. I don't want Owen to die. It's not that I
No, yeah,
want
I
him
get
to
what you're
die, but
saying, but
like, but like, if I feel like they're gonna kill something off, like I feel like Blue they would kill off Blue maybe because like I don't know,
no,
it's like
every
an
kid in the
obvious
world would
thing,
lose their
but
mind.
I know I don't know. It's like hard. I said it in the last film in Fallen Kingdom. I was like, "Oh, the T-Rex definitely gotta die in this
Mm.
point, at this point." But
And
like that never happened. But
what's funny about that is I think Colin had this conversation. And I think
mhm.
that was the huge mistake with Han Solo in Star Wars. Everyone was not okay with him dying. And I think I just read an article recently about that. Is like, why are we killing off our legacy characters. Like, why?
Mhm.
Stop doing that type thing. And I agree with that partially. If it makes complete sense for them to die in like with the story, okay, I
Mhm.
get it. But just because these people don't have a contract anymore with the studio, don't kill them for no reason. That's not the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I have heard people talk about that with Star Wars, and I could see it. I love the motivation that it sets up for these characters, and Harrison Ford really he wanted to be killed off in Return of the Jedi. So like it's been a long time coming for him.
Okay, okay.
So he's basically just like just kill me off. I don't want to be in
Yeah.
these movies anymore.
Mm.
But like yeah, they systematically killed off all of their main like legacy characters, and
Ugh.
I think, in terms of like what happened with Colin and Duel of the Fates and all that with the third Star Wars film that he was going to make. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot to prove here and a lot to say and in terms of like what he has to do and what he wants to do. So yeah, he might take a different direction and not do what they had in mind
Yeah.
with Star Wars and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Mm.
I hope, yeah, I definitely hope none of the heroes like die. I
Yeah.
don't want to see it, but like it's always the question we got to ask,
Right. And if
it's
anything,
it
like
could happen.
it could happen. It could happen. And like, based on what you were saying about Colin, like, proving and all that kind of stuff, like based on the 5-minute preview that we saw, or some of us saw, I'm very sorry to the people that were not able to see that. That was a huge thing for
Yep.
everybody. I did get to see it, and I gotta say that the cinematography and the silhouettes of the dinosaurs and the way that Colin has kind of stepped up his own game,
Hmm.
especially with Battle at Big Rock. Like he's doing a really really nice job, like at what
Yeah.
how this looks. So I think he gets it now. Um, I mean, he got it in Jurassic World, but then there's some scenes with Rexy. I'm like, this looks like,
Oh no. Uh,
and I don't. That might have not even been his choice. And so that's the thing.
yeah.
I think
That's a
it's
tough one.
gonna be incredible as far as cinematography goes, because I know
Hmm.
Fallen Kingdom was so beautiful with J.A. Bayona and his cinematographer and all that kind of stuff. So we'll
Yeah.
see, we'll see. Because based on that
Yeah.
5 preview, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like there's been this like transition period of like, well, we started with Jurassic World. We kind of made the studio model film, like we made it the way we wanted that movie to come out. That's what they had always hoped for. And then Bayona got to like experiment a little and throw his vibe onto that film. And I feel like Colin's trying to, he can finally do his own thing. He doesn't have to like adhere to too much that they wanted to do originally in Jurassic World. He can kind of incorporate some of those Bayona vibes and
Hmm.
the style. Like, and we just heard BD Wong say it, I think, in an interview that like this movie's beautiful and stuff like that. So it's yeah, and everything we saw in that preview is just incredible looking.
And that
Like
wasn't even
all
the
that
half
stuff
of
set in
it.
the past. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's different elements that are coming into the movie, so it's like, how is it going to look with these dinosaurs, in all
Mhm.
these different places around the world? So I'm excited to see how that
Yeah.
comes out.
It's gonna be amazing. I cannot wait. So one final question with Dominion. What's one thing that you do want to happen and one thing that you don't want to happen with this movie?
The one thing that I do want to happen, I think I've said it, but I think the one thing that I do want to happen is, um, I hope to see some kind of surprise of some sort. Like
Okay.
whether it's a Julianne Moore popping up
Uh-huh.
on a FaceTime, I don't care where like, even if she's mentioned, I'll cry.
Yeah. A Paul
Um,
Kirby maybe.
oh my god. I always said, and I'm gonna say this like so that it's embedded onto the internet forever. I always said that the opening scene for Jurassic World Dominion should have been the Kirbys at Thanksgiving dinner.
Uh-huh.
Amanda Kirby sitting down the turkey. Paul Kirby's there. He's about to cut the turkey, and oh shoot, what's the son's name? I'm
Eric
blanking.
Eric.
Eric.
How could you forget? It screamed 95 times.
um, Eric looks out the window and does like a triple take, and there's
Uh-huh.
a Patronodon or some flying dinosaur hitting the sunlight or whatever, like a silhouette of it,
Yeah.
and his eyes
Yeah.
widen, and the whole family looks out the window, and then it says, "Boom, Jurassic World Dominion," and then it just goes into the film, and it
Look,
would be such a good tie-in from what she says right at the end of that film. I dare
I
them to
know.
come to, you know,
Yeah. I if that doesn't happen at some point in time, I feel like this is just a huge missed opportunity. Like because I haven't had the Thanksgiving conversation, but I've had similar things like whether they're at their paint and tile plus or
yeah,
or they're like because we've kind of compared different things. We've talked about like the John Sayles script for like JP4 and like how there's
yeah,
this really cool like attack sequence at like a T-ball game. Like imagine if that was like, like Paul and Amanda's grandchild playing at a T-ball game or like, like there's so they have to be incorporated in some way. I want to hear the ringtone. I
oh
I
god,
want to see them some way just and it kind of like you said, like a comical little approach where it's just like a double take and you're like, wait, what? Like what is happening? But it's not really like a full scene or a sequence. It's just
yeah,
like
and
a throwaway little gag in a way,
a throwaway gag would be amazing. I know that's fan servicey, and people hate fan service. I love me some fan service.
Give it all of us. I want it. I want it all. I don't
Yeah.
care.
I just want to see the Enid, Oklahoma sign, and I
Yeah,
need it to pan to their house or whatever it is, to Kirby Paint Tile Plus, something like that. But
yeah.
if we get
You
it,
know
we get
how
it.
in the preview, which was set, in the past, there's the Quetzalcoatlus, like the big, huge, flying,
Yes.
one,
Wait,
and
wait, wait.
imagine
Say that dinosaur name again.
Quetzalcoatlus. I mean, I feel like I'm close at least. I don't
I
know.
cannot say. I've never heard it said out loud, so that was just incredible for me. I don't ask me to say it, but okay, go on. I'm just gonna
I
do it.
feel like if anything, I probably streamline a few different letters in there to into like one sound that doesn't, I don't know if it works or not,
Cool.
but imagine that huge bird just landing on like the sign, like you're like the
Yeah,
town sign, the borders of the town. It lands on that sign, and then I want to see it take off. And as it's taking off, it literally just like basically demolishes the sign or knocks it over or something like that. And then you move on to the next thing and that's it. It's like just a little throwaway gag. I
incredible.
guess you don't even have to have the Kirby's in the movie, but like I need to
Academy Award.
reference that place. Yeah, it has to happen. All right. So that's one thing you do want, or like a cameo of sorts. What's one thing
Yeah.
you definitely don't want to happen? I mean, you said characters dying. You don't really want any characters dying, but give me something else.
I do want some death. Give me some death. I don't know whether it's, the random person off the street or whatever. Like you can't
Sure.
have
Well, that's happening. Yeah.
yeah, you can't have dinosaurs in our world without crazy things happening. What I don't want to happen is I hope that this film is its own thing where it doesn't call back too much, you
Hmm.
know? I hope that it lives on its own as well,
Okay.
where, we don't get too many references from, Jurassic Park and that kind of stuff. Like with the Maisie pulling down the thing, like it's not
Okay. Yeah.
it wasn't forced, but like for me, like I think that this is its time to shine type thing. I know, especially with the older characters coming back, there might be some scenes where they're all together that might feel familiar, and that's
Mhm.
totally awesome. But I don't want it to be too gimmicky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I think we don't have any time to waste in this movie, right? It's gotta be action packed. There's a lot of stuff to handle, a lot of setup, a lot of tear down. There's got to be a lot in this film that you have to do, and yeah, wasting time on things that we get it.
Yeah,
It's been pounded into our head.
yeah,
I'm definitely all down for the fan service, like 100%, because like I feel like with a lot of films recently, they've really went deep into the fan service, like the whole Infinity War Endgame kind of saga there. Like
mhm,
they just did everything that you wanted them to do, and I was
yeah,
like, this is amazing. Everything about it is amazing. So I kind of do want them to take that approach. I know Star Wars didn't take that approach, and I know there was a lot of backlash and stuff. So
mhm,
hopefully we do just dive straight in head
yeah.
first.
And
But
honestly, like being there when they announced Laura Dern coming back or
oh
whatever, like
yeah,
that is. that was that moment that I want to feel when I watch that movie. I want everybody to feel that. What I
Uh-huh.
felt when I was like, "Hey, are any of these characters coming back? Oh yeah, let me just bring one out." And
Yeah.
like I want everybody to feel that. You know,
Yeah.
so
I hope the whole thing isn't spoiled in trailers and
oh boy,
teasers and everything else because we know Fallen Kingdom had a big issue when it came to that. So hopefully they dial it in a little bit and don't give away everything in the marketing.
I
So
really hope that they've learned their lesson on that. I think with like with Halloween Kills coming out,
mhm.
I don't feel like I've seen the whole movie watching those trailers.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I can't say
think
that I have.
that it's getting a little bit better. Like, let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, maybe Halloween Kills, but like when it comes to Fast and Furious, it's like, oh, I definitely saw all the Fast Nine in that movie in that trailer.
Honestly,
Like
yeah.
so much of that was in there. So, and those are the two tent poles, Jurassic and Fast, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I just want it to be a much more clean experience because that
Yeah,
I loved Fallen Kingdom, but I had a big issue when I came out of like I saw that movie already
yeah,
on TV on my
yeah.
phone wherever it was.
I agree.
So fingers crossed that we
Fingers
don't
crossed.
get too
And
much.
I hope that we get an extended cut of Dominion because I know Fast 9 got an extended cut.
That's
So,
true. There was a director's cut there. I mean, yeah, that would
Colin,
be
if you're
cool.
listening, we'd love an extra 10 minutes, an extra 20 minutes, an extra 4 hours if you
Yeah.
got it. Just put it all
Look,
on there.
I love, and you mentioned TNT before, when it came to watching The Lost World before your Jurassic Park 3 days,
Yeah.
that whenever they play it on TNT or whatever channel these days, they always play deleted scenes, and they don't make any sense really in the film, but, like, it's amazing to see those in there, and I love those scenes. So,
They're
yeah, give
so
us more
good.
stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jurassic films are not known for their deleted scenes, so I'm gonna
No.
need a 30th anniversary set that has deleted scenes from Jurassic Park, The Lost World, every single film. I need just all the extra stuff that was on the cutting room floor. Please and thank you so much.
Please, please,
Don't let it
please.
rot in a warehouse. Thank you. Uh,
All right, so I want to move on to our final thing here. I got a fun little game. Okay,
okay,
so it's going to be a rapid fire questionnaire. You get 60 seconds. Okay, so
I'm
all you
so
have to
bad at
do
this. Let's
is
go.
all you got to do is either just answer the question or like give a yes or a no or just give me like a quick insight into what you feel about this franchise. I think we'll learn a lot about you and
Oh man.
learn, how big of a fan you are. And you do pride yourself, I think, on saying that you're like the number one fan out there. So
No, no,
so
no.
we got to
I'm
or
one of the
the
biggest fans.
biggest fan. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
one of the biggest.
So I'm going to start the clock. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. Here we go.
Hold on to your butts.
All right, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, JP3, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. Pick one.
Lost World.
Feathers or no feathers?
Both.
Indoraptor or Indominus?
Indominus.
Aftermath or Evolution? Do you know?
Evolution.
Alan Grant or Malcolm?
Grant.
InGen or Biosyn?
Engine.
Sarah Harding or Claire Deering?
Sarah Deering.
Is Ben Hildebrand the worst?
Yes.
Should Kelly have been cut from the team? Yes or no?
No.
Spinosaurus or T-Rex?
T-Rex.
Mattel or Kenner?
Mattel.
JP aesthetic or Jurassic World aesthetic?
JP aesthetic.
Are Muldoon's socks high enough? Yes or no?
Honestly, his shorts are not short enough.
There we go. I think we got some insight. I think we did. We learned a lot about you there.
Oh my god, that was actually pretty fun. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I just like rapid fire go through that, and I'm like, I got to go back and listen to all those answers.
Oh,
So So wrapping it up, I just want to thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, like seeing all your stuff over the years, and you've brought real value to the fandom and the community. And yeah, so speaking of the community, where can everybody find you online?
I have a million Instagram accounts. It's really bad, but I have a movie poster account called @themovieposterguy, and I have my Jurassic fan account, which is called Jurassic Your World. Mm-hmm. And on Twitter, I'm also a movie poster guy. So I'm out there. And if you type in Neemz, I'm sure it'll come up. So I have like 15 nicknames, but that's fine. The whole reason behind that is because I needed to separate my movie posters from my Jurassic fandom, and it's turned out to be one of the best decisions I made, because there's a lot of great fans out there. So I appreciate each and every single one of you. And honestly, listening to this podcast as I drive places is incredible. So thank you for that. I learned so much as well, because keeping up with everything is so hard these days. And this podcast does a pretty good job at, keeping up with just about everything. So thank you for everything that you do.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. But yeah, thank you as well. And what do you say we actually, we're here in the visitor center. Let's start fixing it up, because I don't know at what point in the timeline we are. Maybe it's already knocked over from Camp Cretaceous. I don't know. But let's start fixing up the place. It looks like garbage anyway. Let's hang a few posters. I could see it would definitely spruce the place up if we did that. So what do you say after that?